Start with Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijan Vallabha Girivaradhari
వస్తున్నానమ్మా.
Yashodanandana Brajana Brajana Randana Ramana Jana Vallabha Girivara Vihari Jana Vallabha Girivara Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Jaya Radha Kunja Vihari Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Welcome you all. Sunday morning. I know it's very tough for everybody, even for me, to attend morning class is tough. But anyhow, but whoever can make it, welcome. And just have a Praveen Prabhuji, Puja Mataji, Dhanat Pranam, Praveen Prabhuji, Dhanat Pranam, Santosh Vaitapur, Dhanat Pranam, Raju Prabhu, Dhanat Pranam, and Ram Reddy Prabhuji, Dhanat Pranam. Thanks, my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna Dhanat Pranam.
And all devotees who could not make it to Dhanat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, we can start with this. So, you can share the screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Common prayers. Well, can my screen? Common prayers to seek permission from Parampara.
Prabhuji, we are seeing only desktop here, not any.
Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya
Hare Krishna, Lord.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Prabhu.
Lovesh Prabhu. I think there is a network problem. We'll wait for a second.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
We can ask Prabhuji to switch off that video.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Lovesh Prabhu. You can switch off your video.
Prabhuji, I will speak in this phone because I think some problem in my tablet. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Huh?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So we'll continue with prayers. Prabhuji, you can share the screen for the prayers. Okay. Again. Om
Let's
Agyan.
let's
Yeah, you
finish.
can. Yeah, you can share the prayers. I will try to log in through my tab also. If there's some problem there. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिता कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठुकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्वैषे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्य देवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. No issue. I'm trying to turn on my video. Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna.
There is an echo.
Yes, one second. Very good. Now I think you can see me also and hear me also. think इसको बताओ. चले. Yeah. So we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3. Canto 3, Part 2, Chapter 23. So,
This is 22, Prabhu.
no, 23rd. 22nd chapter, I think yesterday Mahesh Prabhu has taken.
22, yes.
Yeah. So, today we will read. So, chapter Canto 3, the name is Status Quo. Prabhupada has given the name Status Quo. Chapter 23rd, Devuti's Lamentation. So, till yesterday, we thank Mahesh Prabhuji to read up to finish chapter 22, which was a marriage between Devahuti and Kadam Muni. We heard how they both get married, and later Devahuti Mataji, she started serving her husband, and her husband is a great devotee who are 24 hours engaged in devotional service. So here we will continue that after long years of service, what was the condition of Devahuti Mata and what were her desires, and how her husband, being a devotee, being a grasta, fulfilled all her desires, although a great devotee. And we can see that the devotees actually fulfill their even material desires to the highest level, but ultimately their aim is only to satisfy Vishnu or Krishna. So, but Krishna grant them the benediction that they can fulfill their material desire even better than those people who are totally engaged in materialistic life and being devotee. So this will give us hope. Even devotion, after coming to devotional life and doing devotional services practices, we should not think that our all material desires will be gone away. If we have any material desire, Krishna will fulfill them to the best level, like to the highest level, not to the lowest level. So we will read text number 1. Yeah, I will just recite once. Pitrabhyam prasthite sadhavi patim ingita kovida nityam paryacharat pritya bhavan bhavaniva bhayam prabhum. This is told by Matrimony to Uddhava. So this is a conversation in which Matrimony is telling to Uddhava. So Maitreya continued translation by purport by his divine grace Prabhupada ki jai. So I will read translation. Maitreya continued. After the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. So very beautifully, here Prabhupada explains that how why Matrimony compare Devahuti Mata's service to the service of a Bhavani or wife of Lord Shiva, who Shiva and Parvati. So in the last year, Prabhupada is explaining that every woman is expected to be as good and chaste as Devahuti or Bhavani. Today in Hindu society, unmarried girls are still taught to worship Lord Shiva with the idea that they may get husbands like him. Lord Shiva is the ideal husband, not in sense of riches or sense gratification, but because he is the greatest of all devotees. Vaishnavam yatha Shambhu. Shambhu or Lord Shiva is the ideal Vaishnava. He constantly meditates upon Lord Rama and chants Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Shiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya. So here Prabhupada is explaining that every husband, every human, like men, should learn to become a ideal Vaishnava, ideal Grihastha, and just follow the footsteps of Lord Shiva. And it's not about being very, very rich, it's being about a great, great Vaishnava. And to 24-hour service, engage in the service of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. And in the Lord Prabhupada explained, the wife is dependent on the husband. And if the husband is a Vaishnava, then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of the householder's life. So here it's very important, but Prabhupada has explained, it's not my personal opinion, that Prabhupada is telling that wife should be dependent on husband. And if the husband is a Vaishnava, then naturally she will get the share of service. So even if a husband is a very great Vaishnava and wife is totally engaged in serving her husband, even she is not getting time to do her own devotional service, she should 24 hour engage in service of her husband. Then whatever the devotion husband will do, wife will share the part from that. So she might not have to do devotion separately if her husband is a very, very great devotee and she is serving her husband properly. So that is the ideal condition we are reading in from Bhagavatam. And we will see in the description of how Kardam Muni, a greatest of the Vaishnava and ideal house, and the Devoti mother, she served her husband in a very, very nice way. And she will get all the benefits of the devotion performed by her husband. Next verse, text number 2, we will read the translation. O Vidura, Devhuti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of the senses, with love and sweet words. Purport. Here two words are very important. Vishwambara means with intimacy, and Gaura Vena means with great reverence. So in Sanskrit words, there are two words used. Vishrambhenanam tam sochena Gauravena damena cha Shurshurva Sohridena Vacha Madhurya cha Bho. So Vishramena means with intimacy, and Gaurvena means with great respect. So this is what is expected. The wife should serve her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control, sensing, with love, and with sweet words. And in the last, Prabhupada is telling that Sohadrena Vacha Madhura means always desiring good for her husband and speaking to him with sweet words. A person became agitated by so many material contacts in the outside world. Therefore, in his home life, he must be treated by his wife with sweet words. So this is the ideal condition when where a husband is supposed to go out and work and wife is supposed to stay at home and take care of all the household affairs. And here Prabhupada is telling that the wife should be Sohridena, Vacha Madhurya. So she should speak very swiftly with her husband, because the husband go out and with so much tension and so much outside words, so much things will be in her head. And when he comes back to her house, his home, he expects his wife to speak with him softly and sweetly. And this is the ideal house. We are talking about the ideal house, and we all should endeavor to, because most of us are grihasthas in our satsang, so we all should endeavor to live like an ideal house. And the highest standard are given in the Srimad Bhagavatam through the example of Devhuti Mata and Kardama Muni, her husband. Text number 3, translation. Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. So here Prabhupada explains in the purport that wife must always be submissive to the husband and must give up all vanity. As soon as wife becomes proud of her parentage, her pride creates great misunderstanding between the husband and wife, and their nuptial life is ruined. Actually, anybody who is having a problem in their grahastha life, na, husband wife especially, they should read this chapter in very detail, and they should learn. There are so many practical examples given. For example, now here we see that Devhuti Mata, she came from a background of a king. Like her father was Swambhu Manu, who is a very great king, and she's like a princess. But when she got married to a Kardama Muni, who is like a saint, and he is living very simple in a mud hut and very simple life mode of goodness, and no time for anything else except devotional service. And then she just switch over. she just switched over to her and accepted her new life, her new family, her new husband, her husband, and everything, and she totally give away her old style of living. So now she is living as per the requirements of her husband, in which way she can serve her husband best to her ability, and that required her to remain simple and totally dedicated in her service, because her husband totally engaged in devotional service. So she is just assisting her husband in devotional service, and in that service of assisting her husband, she becomes so engaged that she even forget herself, take care of her body, her hairs, like for women, and they have to take care of body and hair so nicely. But here, this girl who came from as a princess immediately forget everything, and she started serving her husband to the best of her capacity. And later we'll see that her husband become very much pleased with her service, and he benefited her. So it's very great fortune for this lady Devoti Mata that her husband was a great devotee. So if in a house anybody is a devotee, then whole family will got benefit out of that. So here we'll see that just one person is a devotee, and how the wife will get all the benefit out of that, to such an extent that later Lord Krishna in the form of Lord Kapila came out from her womb. So this is the highest level of benediction just by serving her husband, who is a very great devotee. Here also, Prabhupada explained about Chanakya. That Chanakya Pandit says in the Prabhupada that Chanakya Pandit had described 4 kinds of enemies at home. Yeah, this is very important. If the father is debt, he is considered to be an enemy. So in a family, if father is having a debt, now you see everybody is taking loan. Then, but if a father is having a loan or debt, then he is considered an enemy. If a mother has selected another husband in the presence of her grown up children, she is considered to be an enemy. Third, if a wife does not live well with her husband but deals very roughly, then she is an enemy. Fourth, and if a son is a fool, he is also an enemy. So here Chanakya Pandit has given, and Prabhupada has quoted Chanakya Pandit very often throughout his purports. And here also Prabhupada has explained that how Chanakya Pandit said that 4 types of enemies are there, and these are the very practical things. We should understand these things in very detail, and for not only spiritual life, even our material life will become very blissful if we just follow this purports from Prabhupada and from great acharyas, which are quoted by Prabhupada in his purport. So in a family life, father, mother, wife, and children are assets. But if a wife or mother accepts another husband in the presence of her husband or son, then according to Vedic citation, she is considered an enemy. A chaste and faithful woman must not practice adultery. That is a greatly sinful act. So this is a very important thing. Chastity is the greatest wealth of for any woman, which is explained throughout the purports, throughout the Bhagavatam and the other scriptures by the Prabhupada. Text number 4 and 5. Translation. The daughter of the Manu, who was fully devoted to her husband, looked upon him as greater even than Providence. Thus she expected great blessings from him. Having served him for a long time, she grew weak and emaciated due to her religious observance. Seeing her condition, Prathama, the foremost of celestial sages, was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love. Purport. If a husband is a devotee and wife is a materialistic, there cannot be any peace in the home. The wife must see the tendencies of husband and must be prepared to follow him. From Mahabharata, here's one example of Gandhari. That Gandhari, when she came to know that she was going to marry to Dhritarashtra, who is blind, then she thought that I should not become greater than my husband, and she voluntarily put clothes on front of her, and she never, like, she just immediately replied so that she should not get pride that I am greater than my husband. So this is a Vedic culture. This is not, we cannot compare with today's culture. Today we talk about equality. Yeah, it's equality is there, but if you want to follow the ideal householder life, this is what is recommended, that wife should always become subordinate if some discussion is there. So wife should deal her husband very tactfully, very beautifully, without disrespecting him and without offending him. And very, there are various ways given. Actually, anybody who is undergoing any problem in their household life, especially husband and wife, they can read this chapter in detail, and it gives very practical solutions that how to come out of this, and which no counselor in materialistic counselor, family counselor, marriage counselor, they even don't know all these things. So this is very important. If a husband is as great as Kadam Muni, then a very good result accrues from the following him. But even if a husband is not a great devotee, like Kardamuni, it is wife's duty to adopt herself according to his mentality. That makes married life very, very happy. So here Prabhupada is telling clearly that yeah, we are telling about ideal example of Kardam Muni and Devahuti Mata. But even if somebody who is not as great as Kardam Muni, even in that case also wife should follow the footsteps of her husband, and then the life, married life will become very, very happy. Okay. Next, text number 6, translation. Kardama Muni said, O respectful daughter of Swambhu Manu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. Since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf. So here now Kardama Muni starts speaking to his wife that yeah, you serve me so nicely that you even forget to take care of your own body, your own health, and you become very weak, skinny, and matted with dust, and your hairs are not even combed for years. But he become very much pleased, and now he just concentrate towards his wife and want to fulfill his desire. And Kardamuni is such a great mystic yogi. He knows the heart of every living being. He can study the heart. So he the mother that what she desired, and he started fulfilling all her desires. So in purport, Prabhupada explained that it appears that Devuti has no sense pleasure even with her husband. Otherwise, she would not have deteriorated in health. Acting to facilitate Kardam Muni engagement in spiritual elevation, she continuously assisted him, not caring for bodily comfort. It is the duty of a faithful and chaste wife to help her husband in every respect, especially when the husband is engaged in Krishna consciousness. In this case, the husband is also amply rewarded the wife. This is not to be expected by a woman who is the wife of an ordinary person. So this is an example of a great devotees. So in common man life, we cannot expect the same result. Yeah, but there are certain principles we can take, and details can be different. So that's how scripture deals, that principles should remain the same and details can be varied as per time, place, and circumstances. So it's very important that as per my condition, I should take guidance, but the principles will remain the same. So text number 7. Kardamba Muni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. So this is how this is the secret. Like if you read chapter number 434 shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprakshena Sevya Tekshati Te Jnanam Jnanena Tattvadarshina. So there it's explained that one should just go to and approach a spiritual master and try to serve him sincerely. And just once your spiritual and inquire from him simplicity. So in this case, we can compare Devuti and Kardamuni like a spiritual master and disciple, where the disciple is serving her spiritual master very, very sincerely and just being pleased by her. By the blessings of Kardam Muni only, Devuti Mata got all the spiritual blessings and she became enlightened in spiritual wealth, which is the highest thing which anybody can get. Like Golokera, Premadana, Harinama, Sankirtana. That's what she gets. Here in Prabhupada also explained what are the graces of Lord. In purport, Prabhupada explained what are the grace of Lord. It is stated that the grace of Lord is abhyam, free from fearlessness, fearfulness. In the material world, if somebody one accumulate $1 million, he is always full of fear because he is always thinking, what if the money is lost? But the benediction of Lord Bhagavad Prasada is never to be lost. It is simply to enjoy. There is no question of loss. One simply gains and enjoys gaining. Bhagavad Gita also confirms this. When one achieves the grace of Lord, the result is Sarv Sukhani, all distresses are destroyed. So that's what we are talking about here. Actually, there is no comparison between material happiness and transcendental happiness. So here, uh, but Kardamuni has awarded Devhuti being happy from her service is the transcendental happiness. But at the same time, we'll see further. But first, we read proper. For spiritual, yeah, Prabhupada tell the example of Narad Muni, that how Narad Muni gained spiritual advancement just by serving some sadhus in his previous life who came to his home and just by eating the remnants of prasad. And he became such a great devotee like Narada. So here we see that although people are not doing great service, but still they are getting very great benediction. And sometimes we see that people here, people like us, we are sometimes doing big services, still we are not feeling Krishna prema, because we know that Krishna cannot be deceived. We cannot fool Krishna. Krishna is bhavgrahi Janardana. So Krishna doesn't need anything. He doesn't need our service, but he needs the bhava behind the service. So we see that from the example of Kardam Muni, Devhuti, and Narad Muni, that when they do service, they are fully in that bhava. They are doing from their heart. They are doing it very naturally and genuinely. And but that's what Krishna likes. That's what Krishna like, and Krishna awarded them the benediction accordingly. But in our case, sometimes we see that we are doing big services, but since we don't have that bhava, that's why the results are not coming to that level. So even like Radhanath Maharaj said that a person can become a full Krishna consciousness, fully devotee just by peeling one potato in service of Lord. And person cannot be Krishna conscious at all, even if he is doing arti in the altar or big services to deities. He cannot be Krishna conscious. It's all depend on the state of mind or the consciousness. That's why Prabhupada named our society International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we should be very uh, importantly, we should be very conscious of all the services, and we should be very sincere. And that's what a difference between a great devotee and a ordinary devotee. So we can see that in Prabhupada life, Prabhupada initiated almost like 10,000 people, and there are many billions people who can in contact with Prabhupada, but not all become great devotee. Why? Because there are people who accepted teachings of Prabhupada as their heart and soul and try to live their life, and that makes them great. When somebody follow their guru's instruction with fully dedication and make their instructions their heart and soul and their mission of their life. And the other people who just take them very lightly, very casually, and Krishna will also take them very casually and lightly. So this is how the services. So in Krishna consciousness, we should understand one thing, that we don't have to do big services. We might not have to do. We have to do. No, in if it is required for service, we have to do. But ultimately, the mood is what is Krishna is looking at. With which mood we are serving our gurus, we are serving Vaishnava, we are serving the Lord. Yeah. Text number 8, translation. Kartamba Muni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by person proud of aristocracy and material possessions. So Kardam Muni start explaining Devhuti Mother being having understand her heart. So he understands that she has a desire to understand material life also. But Kardamani start explaining him, why are you looking at all these enjoyments? Because they are all temporary, and I have awarded you the highest benediction which anybody can get, that is Krishna Prema. And here Prabhupada explains this word in the third line of Sanskrit line, Nij Dharma Dohan, by your own principles of devotion gain. So here in translation, Prabhupada explained that Lord Chaitanya recommended that the greatest achievement of human life is to achieve the grace of the Lord, love of the Lord. He said, Prema Kumar Mohan. To achieve love of God is the highest perfection of life. The same principle is recommended by Kadam Muni to his wife. His wife belonged to very aristocratic royal family. Generally, those who are very materialistic or who possesses material wealth and prosperity are unable to appreciate the value of transcendental love of God. Although Devoti was in princess coming from a very great royal family. So same thing which our Krishna consciousness Lord Chaitanya explained, that grace of God. Same principle are explained by Kardam Muni to Devoti. Here further it is explained that she served her husband, who was a great devotee and saintly person, with great sincerity, love, affection, and service, and Kardama Muni was satisfied. He willingly gave love of God and he recommended that she accept it and enjoy it because he had already achieved it. So this is very important, that if a husband is a great devotee, and the wife just supports her husband, sincerely serves her husband, then automatically she will get all the benefit of the devotion of the husband. And for a woman, the first principle of religion is to be faithful to her husband. In the last line of purport, Prabhupada also explained that fortunately the husband is a great personality, then the combination is perfect. And the lives of both the wife and husband are at once fulfilled. This is very, very important in husband and wife relationship. Text number 9, translation. So till now, if anybody has any questions or any doubts, we will continue. Hare Krishna. We'll continue further. Upon hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental science, innocent Devuti was very satisfied, her smiling face shining with a slightly bashful glance. She spoke in a choked voice because of great humility and love. So here now, Devuti Mata is teaching through her own example that how a wife should behave in front of her husband. But this is a very, very ideal example through the scriptures. So we cannot generalize this example in today's age because in Kali Yuga, we don't find husbands as great as Kardamuni or wives as great as Devoti mother. So these are the ideal example which is expected to follow in every householder. But yeah, in today's world, we cannot take all these things same as it is. Yeah, but we can always pray to God that this is the ideal situation every householder should witness. So text number 10. Here Devuti will say, Devahuti Uvacha, Radham Bata Vicha. Here one word is used by Devuti Amoga. Amoga means infallible. So Devuti is addressing her husband. Shri Devuti said, my dear husband, O best of the Brahmanas, I know that you have achieved perfection and are the master of all the infallible mystic powers because you are under the protection of Yogamaya. So even Devuti mother knows that Krishna got two types of energies. One is Mahamaya, one is Yogamaya, and she addressing her husband under Yogamaya. That he is a great devotee, and devotees are not under the control of Mahamaya energy, but under the Yogamaya, the transcendental nature. But you once made a promise that our bodily union should fulfill, since children are a great quality of for a chaste woman who had a glorious husband. Actually, during the time of marriage, when the father of Devoti mother, Swambhu Manu, brought her to Kardam Muni. That time Kardam Muni told that once she will get children, then time I will leave her and will become renunciate. So now Devoti mother being serving her husband for long, long time and he was engaged in full time engaged in devotional service. So they do not have that time to have children. So now once the Kardam Muni came out of his meditation and trance and services and he moved towards Devoti and he became very, very pleased by his wife. Then he started asking, yeah. Then he told that okay, now I'll fulfill all your desire. He asked Devuti to express her desire, and she openly expressed that yeah, that whatever you promise, now you have to fulfill that because here Prabhupada explained in purport that children born of good parents are expansion of parents' personal qualities. Both Kardam Muni and Devuti were spiritually enlightened. Therefore, she desired from the beginning that first she be pregnant and then she is empowered with the achievements of God's grace and love of God. For a woman, it is a great ambition to have son of the same quality as a highly qualified husband. Since she had the opportunity to have Kardam Muni as her husband, she also desired to have child by bodily union. So here we see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one Grasta devotee who came and informed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that yeah, my wife is pregnant and she will deliver child soon. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu become very, very pleased and he actually embraced him. But at the same time, we see that example of Chota Haridas. When Chota Haridas saw towards one lady being a brahmachari, he saw towards the lady in a mm, not appropriate way. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understand his heart, he knows everything. He never like he in his lila at least he just never forgave him and Chudaridas had to commit suicide. So here it is said that even the sex life is being approved by Lord if it is under the regulative principle, if it is under the religious principle. So that is the difference between animals and humans. Yeah, we know all four regulative principles that so humans are allowed to have sex life in a very, very controlled way in the controlled way of marriage, and that too Prabhupada explained only for having children. So here, that is what is being explained. So even Krishna approves that, and Krishna like that. But the people who are indulge in all sort of sense gratification activities, which are not approved by scriptures, they are actually doing very great bad karma, and they will suffer in hell. That is for ordinary people. But for devotees, after understanding, that will become in the category of aparad or breaking the four agreements, and that will check out their progress in Krishna consciousness. So if now we all being devotion for some time and we understand all these things, that what are the four agreements, we should be very, very careful that all these sense gratification activities, when we do, they don't come in the form of pap, they come in the form of aparad, and they will slow down our progress in Krishna consciousness. So if we want to achieve Krishna consciousness results very fast, so that's what Prabhupada told, that four executive principles and 16 rounds of chanting. So like when you have a disease, you have to take medicine. So doctor will give medicine to cure the disease. At the same time, doctor will tell you some do's and don'ts. That there are certain types of food item you cannot take because it will slow down your progress to good health. Similarly, in devotion, that four agreed principles are like don'ts. Which then, when we follow four agreed principles properly, then our progress and chant with sincerity, then progress will be very, very fast. Because we have seen practically in our surrounding, there are many devotees who are being doing japa harinam for a long time, and then they say that harinam is not working properly because we are doing for a long time, we are not getting Krishna prema, we are not getting prema shru, we are not getting appealing toward Lord Krishna. So there must be two things: either we are not chanting sincerely, or either we are doing some aparad in between, and our growth in Krishna consciousness is being slowed down. So text number 11, translation. Devhuti continued, "My dear Lord, I am struck by excited emotions for you. Therefore, kindly make what arrangements must be made according to the scripture, so that my skinny body, emancipated through unsatisfied passion, may be rendered fit for you. Also, my Lord, please think for a suitable house for this purpose." So this is how we see from this translation that every woman desires a suitable house and have a very nice family comfort with her husband. So there are two ways which are explained. The Vedic scriptures are not only full of spiritual instructions, but are also instructive in how to prosecute material desires very, very nicely, with the ultimate aim of spiritual perfection. So we can see that our scriptures are not only always talking about spiritual. They will tell you in detail how to live this life on a material level also, in such a way that ultimately our aim is to achieve Krishna Prema. So Devuti asked her husband, therefore, how to prepare herself for sex life according to the Vedic instructions. Sex life is specially meant for having good children. The circumstances for creating good children are mentioned in Kama Shastra, the scriptures in which suitable arrangements are prescribed for factually glorious sex life. So here Prabhupada explained that there are various types of scriptures which will help you to live a human life in a very better way. And ultimate aim of all the Vedic scriptures is to bring any human being to the level of a devotion towards Krishna. So here in the last, Prabhupada explained that although she wanted him to instruct her in that way, and she also requested that he arrange for a suitable house because the hermitage in which Kardam Muni was living was very simple and completely in the mode of goodness, and there was less possibility of passion being aroused in his heart. So next, Maitreya Uvacha, text number 12, translation. Maitreya continued, O Vidura, seeking to please his beloved wife, the sage Kardamba exercised his yogic power and instantly produced an aerial mansion that could travel at his will. So this is how we see the great yogis, the power. And in the later Prabhupada explained that even this our Kardam Muni, he got amazed himself by seeing the results of his yogi power. So yogi himself is getting amazed, Ashcharya Chakit, just by seeing the result of his own yogi power. So here it's explained, out of his yogic power, so Kardam Muni instantly produced an aerial mansion that could travel at his will. So this is the power of devotion. You see, a devotee, that he can produce anything, and Krishna will fulfill all his desire. Now his wife wants a house, and Kardam Muni is producing such a aerial house. Now you can't practically imagine such type of aerial house to be even for Ambani's or great Bill Gates type families today. They also have a house like with made of a brick, stone, and all. But here we are talking about a house which can fly in the air and which can take the occupants to different planets, and that the control is not through some machines but through the mind directly. So that is very, very great advanced technology at that time, which was available to Kardam Muni because of the grace of Krishna. So even a devotee who is very, very advanced and he has some material, and we see the same example in the form of Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj was approached Krishna with a desire in his heart to have a kingdom greater than his father. And ultimately, by the grace of Krishna, he get Dhruv planet, and even he got great devotion. So this is a benefit. When even if we have material desire, we should come to service of Krishna. And we see the example of ideal householder Kardam Muni and Devhuti, that although the husband is very great devotee, and by the grace of Krishna, they have all the desire fulfilled, even on material level and even on spiritual level. So here the word yogam ashitam are significant. The sage Kartama was completely perfect in yoga. As a result of real yoga practice, there are 8 kinds of perfection. The yogis can become smaller than Storya, Anuma, Lagima, Prapti, and all these 8 type of yogic siddhis. So Kardamuni was perfected in all the 8 siddhis. So text number 13. It was wonderful structure, bedecked with all sort of jewels, adorned with pillars and precious stones, and capable of yielding whatever one desired. It was equipped with every forms of furniture and wealth, which tend to increase in the course of time. So it is explained about details about the castle, that how the castle which was produced by the yogic power of Kardam Muni was such an opulent place with different rooms, different stories, and different and all the pillars, walls, everything is decorated by precious stones. And it explained that such type of jewels and stones were there, that even in the night they don't need any light, because these gems will shine and they will share the light with each other. Some technology was there. And Prabhupada explained that in the purport that even few years ago, like few hundred years ago, in India, there were all sort of jewels and precious stones were used for construction of big houses, big mansions. And I heard one lecture there. It's explained even Lal Killa Fort in Delhi, it used to have all these stones few years before the invasion of Mughals and these Britishers, and later they all were being robbed. But there were very precious stones available, and they are even available today, but they are not available to us common men. So castle constructed by Lord Krishna for his 16,108 wives were so bedecked with jewels that there was no need to lamplight during the night. So same type of technology was used by Kardamuni through his yogi power. Text number 1415. The castle was fully equipped with all necessary paraphernalia, and it was pleasing in all seasons. It was decorated all around with flags, festoons, and artistic work of variegated colors. It was further embellished with breadth of charming flowers and attracted sweetly humming bees with tapestry of linen, silk, and various other fabrics. If we go in detail, actually all these things which are being used for decoration got a very nice significance, and it will help you be in a very happy and comfortable in your house. But nowadays people just decorate their house and think that just getting a wall colored nicely and putting a false ceiling and putting one light is fancy light is good. But we can understand that even decorating a house was a big technology that time, and they use all sort of natural ingredients earlier, and these all type of ingredients use and make for occupants of the house very happy. But nowadays that technology is being lost, and we are using plastics, thermocols, all these things, type of things to decorate our house. So here it explains translation. The palace looked charming with bed, punches, phones, and seat, and all separately arranged in 7 stories. So even multi-story buildings were available in that time. That's what Prabhupada explained in the purport. Text number 17. Its beauty was enhanced by artistic engravings here and there on the wall. The floor was of emerald with coral diasis. So here further it's explained, text number 18. The palace was very beautiful with its coral threshold at the entrance and its door bedecked with diamonds. Gold pinnacles crowned its domes of sapphire. Text 19 translation. With the choicest rubies set in its diamond walls, it appears as though possessed of eyes. It was furnished with wonderful canopies and greatly valuable gates of gold. So all the details are there. Text number 20. Here and there in that palace were multitudes of live swans and pigeons, as were as artificial swans and pigeons, so look like that the real swans rose above them again and again, thinking them live birds like themselves. Thus the palace vibrated with the sounds of these birds. Text number 21. The castle had pleasure grounds, resting chambers, bedrooms, and inner and outer yards, designated with an eye to comfort. All this caused astonishment to Sage himself. Here we see that seeing the opulence of the castle, even our sage Kardam Muni, who actually created this, he himself got astonished. What sort of castle is it? Because he here in Prabhupada, it's very nice. Prabhupada explained that that is the way of God gifted person. So if Krishna want to take from you, how much you can hold with your two hands, and if Krishna want to give you, how much you can collect in your two hands. We are very very limited, so we don't have any power in front of Krishna. But here Prabhupada explained that that is the way of God gifted person, and Krishna want to give somebody, he will give to such a level that person will get amazed. Arey, itna kuch. A devotee like Kardam Muni exhibited such opulence by his yogic power at the request of his wife. But when the opulence was produced, he himself could not understand how such manifestation could be possible. When a yogic power is exhibited, the yogi himself is sometimes astonished. Because ultimately, we say that in Bhagavad Gita, the power of yogi is also coming through Krishna. Yoginam api sarvesham. And verse is there. I think in chapter 6. Somebody remember the verse? Yoginam. Bhagavad Gita 6:47. Yoginam api sarvesham. So we'll see further, it will come. Text number 22 translation. When he saw Devhuti looking at the gigantic opulent palace with the heart, displeased heart, Kardam Muni could understand her feeling because he could study the heart of anyone. Thus he personally addressed his wife. Now you see the wife of Kardam Muni, Devhuti mother, he desired a very nice opulent house. And Kardam Muni instantly produced that house out of his yogi power, and which can even fly. And we just read about the opulence of the house, the details, description of the house. The house was jewelry, the walls are filled with jewels, gold, rubies, diamonds, and all sort of precious stones which are emanating light in the night. So there is no need of night lamps or bulbs or tubes, whatever, electricity. So it's like self-illuminated because of all this, and can even fly at the will of the mind. And they've got lakes, swans, different types of bedrooms, inner rooms, outer chambers, whatever. But now we see Devhuti mother, when she looked at the house, she didn't feel happy. And Kardam Muni immediately could understand her feelings because being a yogic person, he can understand anybody's heart. But now I request anybody of you who can tell that why after even her desire was fulfilled, Devuti mother, she desired house, her desire got fulfilled immediately by her husband. Still, she doesn't feel happy. Can anybody guess why? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, because the lack of Krishna, connection with Krishna.
Lack of connection with Krishna. Okay, that will come in the last part
It's
of
only a
chapter.
sense enjoyment.
Yeah,
Till
but
now,
actually that's what she desired. She desired that for that's what.
her desires were born on the bodily platform.
Yeah. Okay, that we will see later. But right now it's something else. Hare Krishna. Anybody else want to guess something? Okay, so let me explain that actually Devuti mother, because she was serving Kardam Muni for such a long time, she was very weak position and not in a very nice position like a princess when she was actually got married to Kardam Muni. That time she looked like a princess with nice health, nice body, and all that jewelry, everything. But now being serving her husband for such a long time, and assisting him in performing devotional service. She becomes so engaged that she neglected her body totally. She neglected herself. She never looked a mirror. She never get her whole hairs combed. She never could clean herself properly, and she never eat even properly. So she become very weak, and that's how she looked like. Now we got such a nice house, but I am not enough to be now. Like if you get a very opulent house, you should have at least nice clothes, nice jewelry, and decorate it clean properly to be enjoying that house. So that's what she was looking. Here we see the purpose. Devati had spent a long time in the hermitage, not taking much care of her body. She was covered with dirt, and her clothing was not very nice. Kadam Muni was surprised that he could produce such a palace with similarly his wife uh, Devuti was also astonished. How could she live in that opulent palace? Kadamuni could understand her astonishment and thus he spoke at once. Now Kadamuni, understanding her, he will speak that, my dear Devuti, text number 23, translation, you look very much afraid. First bath in the lake Bindusaravar, created by Lord Vishnu himself, which can grant all the desires of a human being and then mount this airplane. So Kadamuni instructed his wife, okay, I understand your heart. You want, uh, what do you want? Just take bath in Lake Bindusaravar. Which this lake is being created by Lord himself, Lord Vishnu himself. And once you take bath in this lake, all your desires will be fulfilled. So Prabhupada explained, yeah, whenever we go to pilgrimage place, we have to take bath in the different water bodies there. Like we go to Vrindavan, we are supposed to take bath in river Yamuna. When we go to Prayagraj, Ganga, and like that, there are different ponds and sacred places there, lakes there, rivers there. So whenever we go to some holy place, we should take bath in that river. So Kardamuni advised his good wife to bath in the lake Bindusaravar so that he could receive the former beauty and luster of her body. Text 24. The lotus-eyed Devahuti accepted the order of her husband. Because of her dirty dress and the locks of matted hair on her head, she did not look very attractive. So, yeah, the Prabhupada explained that it appears that Devahuti hair had remained uncombed for many years and had become complicated in tangles. In other words, she neglected her body, dress, and comforts to engage in the service of her husband. And that's what attracted her husband, that she even neglected herself, her own comfort, her own health, just to take care of my services. And her husband became very pleased and he awarded all her desires. Text 25. 25. Her body was coated with thick layer of dirt and her breasts were discolored. She dove, however, into the lake which contained and sacred water of the Saraswati. So, being got instruction from her husband, she get inside the lake and take bath, went inside. And what happened inside? In the house inside the lake, she saw 1,000 girls, all in the prime of youth and pregnant like lotuses. So inside the lake, there is one another house that is also created by, I think, Kadam Muni through his will. And there she saw there are 1,000 Gandharva girls who are ready to just accept any order from Devuti and just fulfill all her desires. So later, seeing her, the damsel suddenly rose and said with folded hands, we are your maidservants. Tell us what we can do for you. So this is what a princess is getting. She's getting almost like 1,000 maidservants, which are like Gandharva girls, very, very beautiful girls, young girls. And they are ready to accept any order from Devuti. And later, they had Devuti properly decorated. So the girl, being very respectful to Devuti, brought her forth, and after bathing her with valuable oils and ointments, they gave her fine, new, spotless clothes to cover her body. Then, text number 29, they then decorated her with very excellent and valuable jewels, which shone brightly. Next, they offered her food containing all good qualities and a sweet, inebriated drink called ashwam. So, Prabhupada explained ashwam is an Ayurvedic herb which helps you to increase the appetite and metabolism of the body. Text 30. There is a mirror, she behold her own reflection. Then in a mirror, she behold her own reflection. Her body was completely freed from all dirt, and she was adorned with a garland, dressed in unswilled robes, and decorated with auspicious marks of tilaka. She was served very respectfully by the maids. So this is how she received an opulence reception from her maids, and all her desires are fulfilled. She now regained her strength and beauty that she was having when she got married to her husband. Her entire body, including her head, was completely bathed, and she was decorated all over with ornaments. She wore a special necklace with a locket. There were bangles on her wrist and tinkling anklets of gold about her ankles. So she got all the jewelries. And Prabhupada explained about the baths taken by ladies. Ordinary bath called Malasnana. When she take full bath, including the head, it is called Shirasnana. So Prabhupada explained that women normally they don't take bath fully every day because the hair will get wet and she might get a problem with cough and cold. So they take full bath only on special days. Uh, okay, next text 32. About her hips, she wore a girdle of gold set with numerous jewels, and she was further adorned with a precious pearl necklace and auspicious substances. Yeah. Text number 33. Her countenance shone with beautiful teeth and charming eyebrows. Her eyes, distinguished by lovely, moist corners, defeated the beauty of lotus bird. Her face was surrounded by dark, cutting tresses. Text number 34. When she thought of her great husband, the best of the sages, Kardama Muni, who was very dear to her, she, along with all the maidservants, at once appeared where he was. So this is again the transcendental power of Kardamuni. As soon as she thought something, that is fulfilled. So this is the power of yogi. Prabhupada explained. When her husband asked her to enter lake, she saw maidservant and then took care of her. Everything was done within the water, and as soon as she thought of her beloved husband Kardama, she was brought before him without delay. These are some of the powers attained by perfect yogis. They can immediately execute anything they desire. Prapti. This is called Prapti. Out of the 8 siddhis. Next, text number 35. She was amazed to find herself surrounded by 1,000 maids in the presence of her husband and to witness his yogic power. Text number 36, 37. The sage could see that Devhuti was washed herself clean and was shining forth and through, and as though no longer his former wife. She had regained her own original beauty as the daughter of the prince, dressed in the excellent robes, her charming breast duly cricked. She was waited upon by 1,000 Gandharva girls. O destroyer of the enemy, his fondness for her grew, and her place and he placed her on the aerial mansion. So here Prabhupada actually warns the all men. When Kardamamuni saw the breast of his wife so nicely decorated, increasing her beauty many times, he was attracted, even though he was a great sage. Sripad Shankaracharya has therefore warned the transcendentalists that one who is after the transcendental realization should not be attracted by the raised breasts of a woman because they are nothing but an interaction of fat and blood within the body. So this is what all transcendental, all devotees should be very, very careful. Next, text number 38. Though seemingly attracted to his beloved consort while served by Gandharva girls, the sage did not lose his glory, which was mastery over himself. In the aerial mansion, Kardama Muni with his consort shone as charmingly as the moon in the midst of the stars in the sky, which causes rows of little to open in the ponds at night. So here it's explained that we should not think that Kardama Muni lost his glories because he just fell down in love and all this attraction to his wife. But Prabhupada explained in translation that Kardamani never loses glory. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Prabhupada also explained that. So here is the example of moon and stars. Later it will come out Kardamuni glories. In that aerial mansion, he traveled to the pleasure valleys of Mount Meru, which were rendered all the more beautiful by cool, gentle, fragrant breeze that simulate passion. In these valleys, the treasure of gods, Kuvera, surrounding by beautiful women and praised by the Siddhas, generally enjoys pleasure. Kardama Muni, also surrounded by the beautiful damsels with his wife, went there and enjoyed for many, many years. So here Kardama Muni actually you can see that what Kadamani award his wife is almost impossible for any, even the greatest, wealthiest human being in today's world. So this is the benediction awarded by Lord. That when Lord want to award any benediction to his devotee, he can go to any extent. And this type of benediction, even it was durlabh for devatas, demigods, even they can't enjoy such type of opulence. Satisfied by his wife, he enjoyed in that aerial mansion not only on Mount Meru but in different gardens known as Vaishrambraka, Surasena, Nandana, Pushpakanda, Chaitraya, and by the Manasa Suravali. So all these places which are actually the places of different demigods. They all are there. And Kardam Muni and his wife, they actually went to all those places. And these all planets are actually out of this earthly planet. He traveled in that way through the various planets as the air passes uncontrolled in every direction, causing through coursing through the air in that great and splendid aerial mansion, which could fly at his will. He surpassed even the demigods. Yeah. The word Yatha Anila indicates that as the air is free to move anywhere without restriction, so Kardamuni unrestrictedly traveled in all directions of the universe. So this is the power of Kardamuni unrestrictedly. Nobody can challenge him, nobody can stop him, and wherever he want, he can go and he can travel at his own will in his aerial mansion. What is difficult to achieve for determined men who have taken refuge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet? His feet are the source of sacred rivers like Ganges, which put an end to the danger of mundane world. Here, it's very important. Kardamuni is special because not because he was a great mystic, but because he was a great devotee. So this is very important point Prabhupada gave in the purport that now we are discussing about ideal householder, a greatest devotee. Now we are not discussing about a yogi. We are discussing about a great devotee. So that's what make Kardam Muni very, very special in this place. Because he is a very great devotee. And therefore it is said here that for a great devotee like Kardamuni, nothing is impossible. Although yogis can perform wonderful feats, as Kardamuni already said, Kardama was more than a yogi because he was a great devotee of Lord. Therefore, he was more glorious than an ordinary yogi, as it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Out of many yogis, he who is a devotee of Lord is a first class. Yoginam api sarvesha yat gater antar atmana. For a person like Kardam Muni, there is no question of being conditioned. So it's very important. We should not think that Kardam Muni is enjoying like an ordinary person. He is a great devotee, and we should not think that he is being conditioned. He is under Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. So he very very high level of devotion. He has already a liberated soul and better than a demigod who was also conditioned. Although he was enjoying with his wife and many other women, he was above material conditioned life. Therefore, the word Vyavasthana is used to indicate that he was beyond the position of conditioned soul. He was transcendental to all the material limitations. So, this is how we should take Prabhupada's instruction that we should not think Kadamuni as an ordinary person, but he is always glorious. So next verse, after showing his wife the globe of the universe and its different arrangements full of many wonderful, the great yogi Kardama Muni returned to his own hermitage. So after traveling, they travel everywhere to different planets, different places of demigods, and finally they return back to their own hermitage. Here, the word golem is used in the verse. So golem means round. So it's explained in the scripture that all the planets throughout the world are round. Yeah. And the last line of purport, Prabhupada explained, energy cannot, whose power are inconceivable, energy can never be attained by any condition or limited soul. By the actions of Kardam Muni, we can understand that in spite of his immense mystic power, he remained a devotee of Lord. That is the real position of every living entity. So this is very important. Although Kardam Muni was fulfilling the desires of his wife and playing a role of a householder grasta, he was just fulfilling the desire. But at the same time, he was very much conscious of all the time that he is a great devotee, and he never ever, even for a fraction of second, tend to remain independent and act beyond the out of Krishna consciousness activity. So every activity, whatever he do, is fully Krishna consciousness activity throughout. That's what Prabhupada explained. After coming back to his hermitage, he divided himself into 9 personalities just to give pleasure to Devhuti, the daughter of Manu, who was eager for sex life. In that way, he enjoyed with her for many, many years, which passes just like a moment. So, uh, next, text 45, translation. In that aerial mansion, Devhuti, in the company of her handsome husband, situated on an excellent bed that increased sexual desires, could not realize how much time was passed. So in that way, they passed long time, many years actually. While the couple who eagerly launched for sexual pleasure were thus enjoying themselves by virtue of mystic powers, 100 autumns passed like a brief span of time. So they could not even realize the time, and time passed like that. The powerful Kardama Muni was the knower of everyone's heart and he could grant whatever one desires. Knowing the spiritual soul, he regarded her as a half of his body. Dividing himself into 9 forms, he impregnated Devuti with 9 different charge of semen. So now Devuti was given 9 different daughters. Immediately afterward, on the same day, Devuti gave birth to the 9 female children, all charming in every limb and pregnant with the scent of the real lotus flower. So immediately these daughters are born and they even grown up same day. Text number 49. When she saw her husband about to leave home, she smiled externally, but at heart she was agitated and distressed. And as promised by Kardamani, this is the power of a devotee. Although he was engaged in so much uh, enjoyment, and any common people think he's enjoying like a common man, but here we see that as soon as he see that his promise is fulfilled, his duties are fulfilled, immediately he is ready to leave. Okay, my duty again, I am going for my again bhakti. I'll do full time again. And now Devuti mother is like distressed seeing her husband going away, but she was externally smiling. That's what I explained. But internally she was paining in her heart that her husband is leaving her. And the Prabhupada explained that the example of Kardamani should be understood very clearly. A person whose main concern is Krishna consciousness, even if he is entrapped in household life, should always be ready to leave household enticement as soon as possible. So this is what Prabhupada explained that although we are in household life, we should know that. And actually later Prabhupada explained that once the children are ready, the husband and wife should immediately come to the level of manprastha. That is a one thing which is missing in today's world. People are becoming growing up, they are getting educated in the form of brahmacharya ashram, then they are accepting wife and husband and they are entering grahastha ashram, and later we see some sannyasis also there in the society, but totally vanprasthis are actually missing. Then vanprasthis are very much important in the society and that is totally missing. So husband and wife, they should plan that as soon as their children are mature enough to take care of themselves, they should immediately come to the level of Vanprastha where together husband and wife stay and they practice bhakti. And in one of the class by Radheshyam Prabhu, he was actually expecting many devotees who are in family life to, because once Radheshyam Prabhu was explaining in Hyderabad, he was there and we are having some class a meeting from him. And he was explaining that in Hyderabad there are many people who are coming and approaching our temples and they are willing to donate their lands. And they but their condition is like that their land should be utilized in Krishna conscious activity with immediate effect. As soon as they donate the land, the Krishna conscious activities should start on their lands with immediate effect. Radheshyam Prabhu was telling that this is possible only through Vanprastha devotees. If enough Vanprastha devotees come and commit to temple, then Radheshyam Prabhu can actually allocate one land or one properties to all these devotees and they can start their own center. Like we see now, our Lilananda Prabhuji and all devotees, we all together are building a center. And Radheshyam Prabhu actually has a plan to start such type of centers throughout Hyderabad or throughout India or throughout the world, everywhere. Every town and village, there should be hundreds of centers like that. Like that is a plan. But the only thing lacking is he told that Vanprastha devotees. So if devotees who are retired, their children grown up and husband and wife together, they just start a center and start services there. That will be very, very great asset for our ISKCON society. So we should all take this message very seriously of our authorities that once our children are ready, at least I should commit myself that yeah, once my children are ready, then no more I will engage in all this doing business of full time money accumulating and all these grastas, relatives, all this. And full time I can dedicate me and my wife together. We can go as a vanprastha and serve the authorities full time. So that is what it's very much required in today's world. Text number 50, translation. She stood and scratched the ground with her foot, which was radiant with the luster of her gem-like nails. Her head bent down. She spoke in a slow yet charming accent, surpassing her tears. Yeah. So she spoke to her husband. What she tell? Devuti, Sri Devuti said, "My lord, you have fulfilled all the promises you have made. You you gave me, yet because I am your surrendered soul, he should give me fearlessness too. So, what is the meaning of fearlessness? Explained by Prabhupada in the purport very nicely. Devuti requested her husband to grant her something without fear. As a wife, she was fully surrendered soul to her husband, and it is the responsibility of the husband to give his life fearlessness. So, how one awards fearlessness is to his subordinate is mentioned in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, the one words, very beautiful words in chapter canto fifth, chapter number 5, text number 18. Yeah, if you want, I can read. Guru na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, devim na sasyat, na patim cha sasyat, na mochayat ya sampradaya mityam. So, translation is one who cannot deliver independence from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. So, this is what has been explained that one who cannot get free from the clutches of death is dependent, and he should not become spiritual master, not a husband, not a kinsman, not a father, nor a mother, etc. It is a duty of superior to give fearlessness to the subordinate, to take charge of someone. Therefore, either as a father, mother, spiritual master, relative, or husband, one must accept the responsibility to give his ward freedom from fearful situation of material existence. So it's explained Avarga and Aparva example. Material existence is always fearful and full of anxiety. Therefore, the saying, "You have given me all sort of material comforts by your yogic power, and since you are now prepared to go away, you must give me your last award so that I may get free from this material condition." Like so, in next word, it's explained what award she asked. My dear Brahmana, text number 52. As far as your daughters are concerned, they will find their own suitable husband and go away to their respective homes. But who will give me solace after your departure as a sannyasi? So here Prabhupada explained that a widow who has her son is actually not a widow. So actually it is said that the father himself becomes the son in other form. The father and son are therefore considered to be not different. So if son is there, the widow is actually not considered a widow because she has a representative of her husband. Similarly, Devhuti is indirectly asking Kardama Muni to leave a representative so that in his absence, she might be relieved of her anxiety by her suitable son. A householder is not expected to remain at home for all his days. After getting his sons and daughter married, a householder can retire from household life, leaving his wife in the charge of his grown-up sons. That is actually a sannyas ashram. That is a social conversion of the Vedic system. Devhuti is indirectly asking that in the absence from home, there should be at least one male child to give her relief from her anxieties. This relief means spiritual instructions. Prabhupada explained very nicely that relief from anxiety means only spiritual life because in material life there is no way you can get relief from anxiety. So actually Devhuti is now asking for spiritual instructions and a son, a suitable son who will take care of her and give her spiritual instructions. So in the last Prabhupada, when Devati requests her husband to remain at home for a few more days or at least until a male child is born. Until now, we have simply wasted so much of our time in sense gratification, neglecting to cultivate knowledge of the Supreme Lord. So yeah, Prabhupada, now Santosh Aditya Prabhu, what you told is coming now. Human life is not meant to be wasted, like that of the animals, in sense gratificatory activities. Animals always engage in sense gratification, eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. But that is not the engagement of the human being. Although because of the material body, there is need of sense gratification according to regulative principles. So, in effect, Devuti said her husband, "So far, we have these daughters, and we have enjoyed married life in the aerial mansion, traveling all over the universe. These boons have come by your grace, but they have all been for sense gratification. Now, there must be something for my spiritual advancement." Next, text 54. Not knowing your transcendental situation, I have loved you while remaining attached to the object of senses. Nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all fear. So, it's explained that Sadhu Sangha. Lord Chaitanya said that Sadhu Sangha, the association of great saintly person, is very important because even if one is not advanced in knowledge, Simply by association with great saintly persons, one can immediately make considerable advancement in spiritual life. So yeah, even willingly, unwillingly, knowingly, unknowingly, if we come in contact with sadhu in our life, so definitely we will get some spiritual benefit. Now she understood this and she wanted to utilize the advantage of association of her great husband. Text number 55. Association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same type of association performed with saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge. So even if it is explained that if you come in contact with fire knowingly, unknowingly, small child, willingly, unwillingly, by mistake, fire will burn. That is the duty. So if you come in contact with sadhus, sadhus will give you blessing. Knowingly, unknowingly, that is the nature of sadhu. Understand? So even if one does not understand who he is, the result of the same efficiency association with a great saintly person also result in liberation, just as whether one goes toward the fire knowingly or unknowingly. Okay. Uh, Text number 56. Anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him of religious life, anyone whose ritualistic performance does not rise him to renunciation, and anyone situated in the renunciation that does not lead him to devotion service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead, although he is breathing. So any work that does not lead ultimately to the standard of devotion service is cause of bondage in the material world. Yajnartha karma anyat loko yam karma bandhana. Unless one is gradually elevated to the position of devotion service, beginning from his natural activity, he is to be considered dead body. Work which does not lead one to understanding of Krishna consciousness is considered useless. Last text number 57. My Lord, surely I have been solidly cheated by the insurmountable illusionary energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For in spite of having obtained your association, which gives liberation from material bondage, I did not seek such liberation. So, Prabhupada explained very nicely, very important. An intelligent man should utilize good opportunity. The first opportunity is the human form of life, and the second opportunity is to take birth in a suitable family where there is cultivation of spiritual knowledge. That is rarely attainable. First thing is we got human body of, and second thing is we got a nice family where we are allowed and the things are favorable to practice devotion. What more do you want? The greatest opportunity. And third is the association of saintly person. Now with the blessing of Prabhupada, we have that thing is also available. So we got human body that is beyond our control, but Krishna granted us. We got nice, suitable family to practice Krishna consciousness. That is what Krishna granted. And we got association of saintly people. That's what also Krishna granted us. What more we want? So the greatest opportunity is to have this. Devhuti was concerned that she was born as a daughter of emperor. She was sufficiently educated and cultured, and last got Kardamuni, saintly person. Still, if she does not get liberated from entanglement of material energy, then certainly she would be cheated by insurmountable energy. So actually, this is not for Devhuti and Kardamuni, it's for us that now we got all the best things, whatever possible Krishna can grant. We got birth in Bharatvarsh, nice human family, and we got association of devotees. And still, if we are not taking advantage of all these things, whatever Krishna can give, then who is more unfortunate than us? So they are telling for us. Material achievement is actually no achievement because as soon as one is illusioned by material gift, he become more and more entangled. So this is the problem with material achievement. It's but there's one nice last story I will explain about. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that in this today's world, there is one good propaganda of jute. Jute is what uh, material things will give you happiness. So it's explained that if if you say jute continuously, then it will appear like truth, and that's what propaganda going on everywhere. So there is one very nice story that there is one man who was carrying goat on his head from his village, and he was going to city to sell the goat. And in between, there are some people who made a plan to just get the goat free of cost. And what they did, they positioned themselves at different places along the way. And one first person, when he saw that person, he told, "अरे आप गधे पे कंधे पे गधा लेके जा रहे हो?" He didn't even notice that. He thought some mad person is there, and he continued his journey. And after some time, another person came and told, "Hey, why you are carrying ass on your shoulder?"
now इसको भी गधा दिख रहा है. He didn't. But when continuously, repeatedly, almost like 7, 8, 10 people told the same thing. Why you are carrying ass in your shoulder? Then he thought there's some problem. Then he looked back and it's goat. But everybody is saying ass. So I think there's some problem with this goat. It might be a magical goat or some ghost is there, whatever. And he just throw the goat and run away. And these people actually take the goat free of cost. So this is the problem with false education. So nowadays in this world, not even 10 people, everybody is saying we are enjoying material life, we are enjoying material life, we are enjoying material life. So after coming to devotion also, sometimes we are confused. It's material life, enjoyment is actually enjoyment, but we have to follow the instruction of this scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, our Parampara, our Acharya, our present gurus, that there is no enjoyment in material life. We should understand this and we should try to stick to that. And once if we doesn't get out of this social media and we keep ourselves in the propagation of false things, and everybody will say that they are enjoying material life, we have association of such people, then actually it's very difficult for us to progress in spiritual life, because our mind will say that सब लोग तो enjoy कर रहे हैं, why I can't enjoy, why to follow for everything, why so much restrictions. But actually there is no enjoyment, and that's what we understand from this example of Devuti and Kadamuni. Although they got highest level of material enjoyment with aerial mansions, and even Kadamuni expand with yogic power, and they can enjoy sensual pleasure for years altogether. But ultimately, Devuti Mata understand that there is no use of this all enjoyment, and they have to come to the level of devotion. And in this next chapter, we'll understand that how Kadamuni granted a boon, and Devuti will get a son, Lord Krishna, actually as Kapil Muni, who later instruct Devuti mother and get her elevate in her spiritual progress. So with this, I will conclude the session for today. And sorry for delay, and please forgive me if I do any mistakes. Actually, it's very heavy topic, and I am not totally qualified, but it's the instruction of our authorities. So I sincerely just try to follow for my own purification. And if I do any mistake, please forgive me and accept me as small ignorant child. And if you would like anything, it's all just because the mercy of our gurus and acharyas. Please bless me. And if any question or any comments, we are open now. Otherwise, we'll conclude. Hare Krishna. Srimad Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I'm ready, Prabhuji. Dhanwad Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful class. And as you mentioned, Prabhu, this is the nice chapter. I think everyone, families has to
Yeah,
read together.
actually, everybody should read it properly in detail. It's very helpful in our Grasta life also.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Srimad Prabhuji, Dhanwad Pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank
Sorry,
you very much.
Prabhuji, if I do any mistake.
Wonderful class. It's a nectarian chapter and nectarian canto also actually.
Yeah.
Read again.
Now actually I enjoy your instruction to read because of this class. Actually, I read now regularly.
It's been all of us,
This
all
is
of us.
one benefit. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Prem Group. So we'll conclude if no question, no comments.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. It's already, I think, time is 8:40, 8:48. Hare Krishna. Dhanwad Pranam. Vancha Kalpitari.
Yes, Kripa Sindhu Devi.
Haridanam Pavaneभ्यो Vaishnavebhyo